Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this presentation is titled LCA Check Ride Stories, Boeing 727 Female First Officer. Now, LCA is Line Check Airman. That is an individual who trains people in the actual aircraft, whether captains or first officers, on flying the aircraft in line operations after they get through all their transition and simulator training. Now they're out on the line, and I'm the one who introduces them to the line. Well, another thing that you do is, since you are a check airman, you also give check rides. And I was an LCA on the 727, the Airbus, and the 777. And I was on the 777 the longest, 13 years at the end. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'm a 727 LCA. And I get this assignment where I'm supposed to give this female first officer on the 727 a two-leg check ride. Now, a two-leg check ride is very unusual. I have never been tasked with giving a two-leg check ride before this or after this. And I was a line check airman for almost 2 decades on the three different aircraft. Now, okay, this isn't her picture. I didn't go around taking pictures of people I gave check ride to. I've got a few pictures of captains and first officers that I checked out on the airplane for fun, because we're just having a fun time. We're out having a few beers on the layover with the whole crew and stuff like that. Um, but I didn't go around taking pictures of people I gave check rides to. And of course, this is not a 727. That was an Airbus. This is a picture of the cockpit of a 727. Now, for all you button pusher magenta line people, okay, just kidding. I was one of those too. This is an airplane you really had to fly. No fancy moving maps, no auto throttles, a very crude autopilot. This was an airplane that took a lot of skill to fly. And by the fact that she was on this airplane, it meant she was a reasonably decent pilot, because this was not an easy airplane to fly. It's one I enjoyed a lot. People who fly it enjoyed it a lot. And it was enjoyable because it was difficult to fly. Now, I came up to the departure gate to meet the crew. The first person I ran into was the captain. And the captain says to me, I tell him I'm giving the co-pilot a check ride. Now, it's very unusual to give the co-pilot a check ride. It's usually you give the captain a check ride and the rest of the crew gets one because the captain's getting it. To give a check ride to the co-pilot is highly unusual. And the other thing he told me was they didn't know that they were getting a check ride. Well, scheduling screwed up because we don't do no notice check rides. You get informed that you're getting a check ride when you're getting it from one of us. It's only the FAA can walk on board and say, "Hey guys, gals, you're getting a check ride. Let me see your licenses." As the airline, we give them the courtesy of letting them know they're getting a check ride. So that was kind of poor. And he says to me, he says, "Well, let me tell you something. She's going through a real nasty divorce. The name on her ID, she's changed it. It doesn't match the name on her licenses or medicals. She's getting that changed. And this is he says, this is more information than you want, but she's not having a good time of the month either. So she's kind of in a foul mood." And I go, "Okay, fine, thank you." And I go in and I introduce myself to her, and she says, "I got to tell you, I'm not in a good mood." And she was surprised she's getting a check ride. She was a little ticked off at that. And I said, "Well, okay, that's fine. I understand with the licenses and stuff." And we introduced ourselves. I sat back in the jump seat, and away we go. Now we're going to LaGuardia, and maybe there's one or two pilots out there who say, "Oh gosh, I just really love LaGuardia. That's my favorite airport." But for most of us, it's not a wonderful airport. And we're en route to this airport, and it's interesting. She is actually being more of a captain than the captain is. And I mean that by she was really proactive on stuff that's going on, turbulence, reroute, stuff like that. She was really on top of the whole situation, and I'm really getting pretty impressed. And okay, we're going into LaGuardia. Now, anybody who's flown in there knows it's not the most easy airport to fly in, especially if you're getting the expressway visual approach to runway 31. You use a lot of visual landmarks, and she's setting on the right seat of the aircraft, and this involves the airport to the left of you, left turns. You're looking across cockpit. I have flown this many times, and it's not an easy approach to fly in good conditions. It was daylight. It's even harder at night, but it was daylight. But we had windy conditions. There was a guy in front of us who slowed prematurely and caused a few issues with that. And she handled this beautifully. Now, anybody who goes into New York knows it's busy airspace, it's congested airspace. It's a lot of work just navigating, especially when you're doing a visual approach like this freeway visual. It's a fun approach, but it is an approach that you really have to be on top of, or things can go to hell in a handbasket very quickly. Well, she flew a beautiful approach, beautiful touchdown, and it was just exemplary. And I told her, I said, hey, they assigned me to give you 2 legs, but there's nothing that you could do on the second leg that would detract from what you've done here. I said, you've given me one of the most amazing check rides I have seen in a long time. I said, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm the only one that's concerned here because I'm the one giving you the check ride, I said, you're signed off. You're good to go. We're done here. I says, I'm not giving you 2 legs, and that's what I'm telling management, and I did, and they accepted that. But I said, you can't impress me any more than you have. So that was kind of an interesting check ride. It was unusual that it was 2 legs. I don't know if there was some strange going on. Sometimes there can be personality conflicts, things like that in the simulator. But it was an interesting check ride. Most check rides went fairly straightforward. Most of the time you're dealing with very experienced crews, and it's a non-event. This one was just unusual in the fact that it was 2 legs, and supposedly there was some issue. Thanks for watching.